Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, what are we making? I was thinking, because I've got a few things in the cupboard that I've stored up that I need to use up. I've got defrosting here, a couple of sheets of savoury pastry. I've got some fresh kale out of the garden that needed to be cut. The white butterflies had started to get to it, but I've washed it thoroughly. That's all ready to be used. I've got a can of smoked flavoured tuna. I've got some loose corn kernels that I haven't used up. I've got some mustard that I haven't used up. Normally, I don't know why I bought that, because normally I buy the powder, so I'm not quite sure why I've got that. I've got a leek here. And I've got an onion, actually. Yes, I have. I've got an onion. So what are we going to make? I think we'll make an old-fashioned smoked fish pie. Now, normally, traditionally, it would have boiled eggs and mashed potato on top, or potato inside it. I'm not going down that road. I'm going down the vegetable road with a bit of green in it. So we're going to have a bit of sauteed leek, sauteed onions, some fresh kale, some corn kernels, and we make it in a white sauce and we put it in amongst the pastry. And then you serve it either with the potato, like a mashed potato or a potato bake, or you could have a baked potato in its jacket. You could have some other type of vegetable, steamed vegetables on the side. I'm thinking maybe, you know, I might do a coleslaw. I could do a fresh coleslaw, actually. That's what I've got. And maybe some side potato or something like that. That's what we'll do. So join me as I put this together. I haven't made it since, I haven't made it for years, probably a good 20 years or so. But I'm thinking I've got to use all this up. Does that have an expiry date on it? It does have dates on it, but it's hard to read. So we have to use it up. So let's get started. So what I'll do is I'll chop up the leek and onion and get that sauteing. And then we'll start making a white sauce. So join me for the ride. Let's put this together and see how it turns out. It may not turn out all that nice. Otherwise, it could be absolutely delicious and we've created something new. All right, simple living, everyone. Right, I have in the pan half a leek and half an onion, because I'm only making a small pie. If it was a family pie, I would probably have one onion, one leek, and a big leek too, because the leek is a good combination with fish. So I've got that cooking in there nicely. Just going to have it, it's just heating up now. And we'll put salt and pepper in there. So we'll put some pepper. We'll put some salt. So we'll just let that saute lightly. In the meantime, I'll drain off the canned and get that ready. And I will get the corn out, get that ready. And then we have to get ready to make a white sauce. So we'll just saute them lightly. They won't be thoroughly cooked through because I've got to cook inside the pie as well. Right, as you can see, it's starting to brown nicely. It's going transparent. It's cooking through. That's probably all I need to do at this stage for the leek and onions. You don't want it completely cooked. You sort of want it like that, as you can see. So we'll take that off the element and we'll get ready to put all this together slowly. We want it to be cool before we put it into the pastry. Okay, now it's time to make the white sauce. So I've just put a dob of butter in there and it's melting, and I'm using the same pan as we did the onion and the leek in, because all that on the bottom is flavour. Now you don't want your butter to melt, and at this point you add some flour. So I always take it off the element, and we'll add probably a tablespoon or just a little bit more. About a tablespoon and a half. And we're just sort of winging it here. Put that in because that's flavour. And we'll get that cooking off. And you blend all that in with the melted butter. It's the same as making a cheese sauce. And you cook the flour off. Now most people would want to put cheese in this sauce, but I'm keeping it as white and plain as possible, so the flavour is the fish and the vegetables. So we'll just slowly cook all this off. See how it sort of just blends in the melted butter and flour. And you just got to let some heat into this, and then you slowly start adding your milk. Okay, I'll just let that heat through, and I'll come back and add the milk. At this point, you probably want to put your oven on preheat, about 200. Right, at this time we're ready to start adding a little bit of milk. I'm using a light milk, because I'm not big on milk. And you just get it into, sort of like that, a dough. Adding more milk as you go and mixing. Get all the lumps out, because you're making a smooth sauce. You want to have your heat down to about medium at this point, not too high. And you're just getting all the lumps that form and making a smooth paste. A lot of stirring involved. It's like if you're making a custard or something like that. If it starts to bubble too quickly, take it off the heat and add more milk. Some people at this point use a fork, But as you can see, it's starting to break down. Alright, and I'll just continue breaking it down and adding milk, and I'll come back shortly. Right, at this stage it's thickening up. I've actually got a few lumps in here because it's a pan, not a pot. But that's okay. It will dissolve as it cooks through. And as you can see, it's starting to thicken up now into a lovely creamy white sauce. Getting the bubbles through. At this point you want to add some salt and some pepper or seasoning that you prefer with your fish and vegetables. I'll just take that off the element for a minute, and I will be adding salt, some salt, and some pepper. Normally at this point I would put fresh parsley in. I don't have any. Well, there's not much in the garden, unfortunately. Okay, at this point I'm going to put about a quarter a teaspoon of mustard and some sprinkles of dry parsley. I always take everything off the heat when I'm making a sauce so that it doesn't go thick and cloggy. Okay, so that's how it's looking. Salt, pepper, about a quarter a teaspoon, mustard, and some dried parsley. And you just want to cook all that through. Right, at this stage we've got the cool down onion and leek that we cooked earlier. And this I'm putting in, I don't know, I don't think I'll put all the corn in because it's a lot of corn. So I'll probably just put in maybe quarter or half of that. Let's just see how much that is. I think that's probably enough. So about quarter of a can of corn. Put the smoked fish in. That's all been drained off. My pussycats will like that tin, I'm sure. At this point, I may cut just a couple of these. Oh, there's some silverbeet in there too. Silverbeet and kale leaves that I washed earlier and rescued from the garden. And as I said, I'll probably serve this with a fresh coleslaw, a basic one. That was about 4 leaves, 5 leaves, if you like to have measurements. It's again just winging it. Gosh, that smells delicious. Homegrown, organic. Now, I'm not soft cooking this beforehand because it just needs to be cooked through in the pie. So, there we have it. All the ingredients. So we've got lovely, fresh ingredients in there other than the toucan ingredients. But it's looking pretty good. Right, now at this point, you want to add your sauce. It's cooled down a little bit. As I said, I'm only making a small pie. You would make more sauce. You would make more vegetable content. Right, that's been done. And as I said, typically people would put mixed egg, maybe some mashed potato, some people would put mashed potato, egg, maybe some cheese. I'm trying to stay away from the dairy because it doesn't really agree with me. Okay, so there's your base of your pie mixture put together. So it should look like that. Alright. Now the next stage is to get, I've only got a little pie pan like this for now. And you want to grease that not too much. It's just to stop the pastry sheet from sticking to the bottom of the bottom of the dish. Cover it pretty well. Sort of like that. Okay. And the first sheet goes on. And as I said, this is just savoury pastry. Doesn't have to be perfect. It's a rustic type of pie. Like so. And then spoon the mixture in. Now, I've probably made, looking at this, too much, and that's fine because I can freeze it if I have to. And then later on you could make little savoury cases with it. We'll see how we go. And I can do that when I want to do something for a quick lunch or something like that. Just make a little, because I think that's probably a lot in there now. There's a lot of vegetables in there, which is great. That's what we like. Shout out to Caleb if you're watching, darling. Willow, if you're watching, sweetheart. I hope you get to make this recipe with Mummy. Okay, so that's it. Like so. Now you want to put the top on. This is where most people would put a potato top, something like that. I don't want to do that. I want to make it a proper sort of with a topping. Be nice if I had some fresh fish, but I don't. Love my snapper. Yeah, but much. Okay, and then you're just gonna bend it in. If it's a bit too thick on the edges, cut it down. Pinch it in. Like so. Just give it a bit of a pattern. See those bits there, you don't want them too thick. I mean, some people like a lot of pastry. Just give it a bit of a pattern. Don't have to be too creative. There you go, like so. And then with the leftover pastry, you can make sort of like I do. I usually just get little balls or something like that and put a little pattern or something on top. As I said, your oven should be on preheat 200. It goes in for about 25 minutes. You want to cover it with a beaten egg. Some people put milk, some people put cream. Okay, you want to paint the beaten egg on it. I usually just tip it over it. So it gets it all in the crooks and the crayons and the... Just gives it a nice topping. If it's too much, just take it off. Just gives it a nice golden top. Doesn't matter if it goes inside the pie, adds an extra ingredient. Like so. Very rustic, guys. So that'll now go in the oven for, I'd say, 25. We'll come back after 25 minutes in a 200-degree heated oven and we'll see how it looks. Hi everyone. So I'm just in the middle of making the coleslaw. So I've chopped up some cabbage, some celery, some fresh fennel, red onion left over from the other half of the onion. That was in the fish pie. What else? I'm going to put some, I've got half a green Granny Smith apple that I'm going to put in. I've had a bit of a clean up. Pie is out of the oven and it's turned out really lovely. I'm going to try it in a minute, just letting it cool down. I mean, as I said, you can do anything with this recipe. You could add asparagus. You can put anything in there that you like, even with seasonings. So it's going to be lovely and fresh with the fish pie. Not putting all that apple in. I've actually got some leftover mayonnaise here from the other night that I made up, so we can have that on top of there. Such beautiful rainbow colours. I don't know, everyone has a different way of making their salads and their coleslaws. Turned out beautifully. Look at that. So it's still a bit hot, so we'll still let it cool down a little bit and we'll come back, put all this together and see how it all turned out. And we'll do a little taste test. Okay, I think it's time to cut into this pie. It's still very hot. I've served up some little bit of coleslaw on my plate. So let's cut into this. See how much steam comes out. Oh, it smells. Oh, that's breaking. It smells delicious, people. I don't know if I've cut right through to the bottom and I don't want it all coming out at the same time. It's hard to know. There we go. Oh, that looks beautiful. That's what it looks like inside the pie. And that's what it looks like together. Right, I'll come back and we'll do a taste test. Right, time for a taste test. So what I do is with the little bits of dressing I make up, I put it into a jar so that I can use it for next time. We don't waste anything here. So that goes over the little bit there. So you've got, as I said, it's got cabbage, red onion, celery, fresh fennel, grated carrot, and Granny apples, Granny Smith apple. So that's really lovely, nice and refreshing. And here's the pie that we're going to try. So let's get a fork out. I mean, many people would put chutney and all sorts of things on it. I'm not going to. Oh my goodness. I've forgotten how good it tastes. Just delicious, people. Packed with goodness. And vegetables. Yummy. All right. Thank you for joining me on my little mission today of trying to recreate the old-fashioned fish pie without the potato and without the egg. It's just got a mix of beautiful fresh vegetables. I tell you what makes it is the leek and the onion. But with the salad and everything, it's just going to be delicious. So you've got to make it. You've just got to make it. All right, do take care. Simple living, everyone. Much love and many blessings to you all. Bye for now.